morning. Welcome to
Kid Math number 155.
Kid Math number 155. This is going to be a struggle to fit this one in 5 minutes, but we're going to give it a shot. You had a real tough time with the problem in the book that looked like this, right?
Yeah.
Graph y equals absolute value of x plus 1 plus 5 minus x. And we spent a long time talking about it this morning. So this is a similar problem. So walk me through how you would graph this sum. And I'll write just to speed it along.
We could make a chart and see what the values of these two smaller functions are.
Okay. One is we could make a chart. Yep.
Well, we could say for values of x bigger than 1, x between, well, we could say x bigger than 5, x between 1 and 5, and x less than 1.
Okay, but making a chart is definitely one way to do it. What's another way to do it?
You could graph these two.
Okay.
And see what they look like.
All right. Why is that a useful way to do it?
Because once you graph, you can sum up the points.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's look at this graph first. So I guess I'll call it A, y equals absolute value of x plus 1. First of all, what is this going to look like?
Well, its 0 is going to be at minus 1.
Okay. But what's it going to look like?
Well, it's gonna have a slope of 1 and negative 1.
Okay. So what's it going to look like?
It's gonna be like in a V shape.
It's going to be a V. Okay. It's going to be a V. The slope's going to be plus and minus 1, and it's going to have a 0 right here at minus 1. So it looks like a V. This looks like our normal absolute value with a slope of plus 1 here and minus 1 here. And it's just shifted which way, left or right?
It's shifted in the negative direction.
Okay. 1. All right. Now what about this one? Absolute value of 5 minus x. What's that going to look like?
Well, its 0 is going to be at 5.
Okay. But what's it going to look like?
It's going to be in the same shape as this one.
Okay, why? How do you know?
Because it's two different line segments, well, rays,
Okay.
going in opposite directions with opposite slopes.
Of what? What are the
1.
slopes of 1? Okay. So this is going to look like, so I'll put this here at 5. This is going to look like this. Okay. What's another way, by the way? This is written as x plus 1. This is written as 5 minus x.
You could say...
How could I write this with a positive 1?
You could say x minus 5.
Okay, this is the same as absolute value of x minus 5. I can multiply things in absolute values by minus 1.
And they're the same thing.
Because the absolute value turns the minus 1 into a plus 1. So if you'd rather look at this like absolute value of x minus 5, that's fine too. Now, how am I going to add these together now?
Well, we could use the chart.
We could use a chart. We can always go to a chart, but we're trying to stay with this, breaking it into pieces. Now that I have this graph and now that I have that graph, how can I add them together visually? What do I need to do?
Well, this slope here and this slope here, these both have a slope of 1.
Right.
When you add them together, you can get a slope of 2 if you add them together.
Ah, okay. That's very interesting. So where is that going to happen? Where am I going to get a slope of 2?
When these two intersect.
Okay, which is where?
Which is going to be at... it'll be at 5.
Okay, so where is the slope of the sum going to be 2?
It'll be 2 at x equals 5.
Okay, right at x equals 5. And what's the value at x equals 5?
The y value?
Yeah, the y value of the sum at x equals 5. Of this sum when x equals 5.
When x is 5, it's 6.
6. Okay. Are there any other points where the slope on the graph of the sum where the slope is 2?
Well, when these two meet at minus 1.
Why is the slope going to be 2 at minus 1?
Because, well, it's actually negative 2.
Right, it's negative 2. So where else is the slope You told me 1 point on the sum where the slope was 2.
Well, the slope goes up, like,
Okay, so everywhere bigger than 5.
and also everywhere less than -1.
What about x less than -1? What's the slope?
That's going to be a slope of -2.
It's going to be a slope of -2. What's it going to be in between?
Well, that's when these two intersect. But
Alright.
this is a slope of 1. This is a slope of -1. So looks like it's going to be a slope of 0.
Right, looks like it's going to be a slope of 0 at hitting 6. So it's actually pretty interesting. And this is just hand waving visually. Okay, we can actually write down the values of the function. Like over here, way over here for big negative numbers, or small negative numbers, whatever you want to say. This is -x minus 1, right?
Yeah.
And this, when x is really negative, is already positive on the inside, so it's -x plus 5. Right? Like if I
Yeah.
pick negative 100, this would be 105. So this is minus 2x plus 4.
And it's kind of the same thing on this side.
Wait, we said 6 though. Did we make a mistake when we said 6? Let's put in 0. What do we get at 0?
We get 1. We get 1.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. 6 is right. I made a mistake. I thought it was at 1. I'm at -1. Minus 2x. Minus 2x plus 4. Because at -1, that's 2 plus 4, which is 6. Sorry about that. I got confused. Okay, so there's a quick way. You can always make a chart.
Yeah.
Okay, but as you start seeing these graphs, they are a little bit more complicated. Okay, so you actually have to make a chart here that will include lots of numbers to see this. But you know 2 easy pieces, right? This one looks like that one looks like that, and we can sort of hand wave and add them together. Okay?
Yep.
All right. Good job.